welcome back to Drawing with Paolo. Today, a special episode. We're going back to some Star Wars stuff. We're going to draw a new Star Wars character, and yeah, I've got a few. I know you guys out there like them. I've got the Stormtrooper, Darth Vader, Clone Trooper, and Boba Fett, and more, and so on and so forth. But now we've got a special character today, and today we're going to be drawing Yoda. So I know you've been waiting for it. Here it is. So we're going to start with Yoda's head. And we're going to do most of his body on this page today. The head will be about here, and the rest of his torso with his lightsaber, of course. I'm taking a shot that is part of the third episode of Star Wars, a third movie where Yoda is about to attack the Emperor. And so here's his head, and we're going to attach that to his body. Now, keep in mind that Yoda's head is pretty big compared to his body, just because he's a small character. And so you won't have those same physical proportions as you would with a normal character. So his head is much bigger and his shoulders are a lot thinner as opposed to a regular character. As you can see here, it's much thinner than a regular normal character. Once we've done these parts, which is pretty much his torso and head, all we need to do now is put in a little line for his arm and this little square, which will represent his hand where his lightsaber will come out of. So here's a lightsaber that we'll put in here. Just like that. It's like as if he was holding a flashlight or a ruler. Then on this side he'll have his other arm, his cloaked arm, and we can have like his cloak will be open here a little bit. So we're going to have a little collar coming down this way. And over here we'll add his shoulders, left shoulder coming down here with little clothes, folds, right? Don't forget you need to make those folds to make it look realistic. His cloak is opened. These Jedi have lots of layers for some reason. I'm sure they're super hot dressed like that, but I don't know how you can fight with all those clothes on. So the next step would be to close off this line a little bit better and erase a line in there we don't need. Let me fix my page back up. And now we're going to play around with his head a little bit. So we've got the basic elements in there. Let's add an ear. So we're going to add his left ear here. Just like this, sort of like the dog drawing we had a while ago. You can check it out on my YouTube page. It's got the same kind of ears, actually. And we're going to redraw the lines to his face. So his jawline is sort of like that dog drawing too, which is weird, but that's how it is. We got this sort of upside down pear shape for his head. And of course, his forehead is way higher. So the circle is a great way to position it. But you wouldn't want to use it. You want to redraw these lines to make it more of his head shape, his basic head shape. There we go. All right, a little bit more of a cheek on this side. And that's where his chin will be. All right, so now the lines for his eyes. So this forehead line right here is at the base of his ears is where you can attach his eyes, right in the middle there. So we're going to draw the nose line as well. If you guys know Ben Grimm, The Thing, I find that Yoda's nose looks a lot like The Thing's nose, which attach here to the eyebrows, just like this, and then we'll put a football shape underneath that to represent the eye. There's his left eye, drawing his right eye. Now keep in mind, Yoda's not happy in this picture because he's about to attack the Emperor, and so we're going to make him an unhappy camper, all right? Erase those lines out when we don't need them anymore. And we're going to continue on drawing this forehead piece to Yoda. Now there are a few lines going across his nose here. One like this and another one a little bit lower. And that's what I mean when I mean that Yoda's nose looks a lot like Ben Grimm's The Thing out of Marvel Comics. We've got a little cheek line here and there. And we're going to put down these like old lines. Yoda is an old character. He's 800 years old or so. Practically as old as me. And then we're going to add these little lines to demonstrate the thickness of his mouth, how long it is. And you use the same facial techniques, even on Yoda, that you would on any human face. As you can see, there's the triangle in there. And it works the same way. If you don't know how to draw a face, check out my face drawing video, and it'll help you out in drawing this picture. All right, we're going to draw the eyes next. And a little bit of a cheekbone on the left side here, and erase the lines I don't need inside there. All right, not bad. Okay, now we're going to draw the forehead details. Now, Yoda looks a lot like a Skrull in Marvel Comics world. I guess Skrulls were taken from Yoda. I'm not sure what came first, the Skrull or Yoda. I'm pretty sure the Yoda did. But Super Skrulls, the Super Skrull, who fights Ben Grimm. I'm mixing up a whole bunch of stuff here, Star Wars and comics, but they're all pretty cool. So these forehead lines here sort of look like really crackly road. We're going to finish off the outlines to the ears here. And we're going to do the right one as well. So more and more it's coming out, it's fleshing out this drawing. We're going to color in his eyes a little bit more. We'll put his lightsaber later. Now because the lightsaber is on the left side there, there'll be the reflection in his eye will be on the left side as well. So keep that little white spot just like that on the left side of his eyeball. And we'll color in really dark in the middle. Same thing on the left side where his pupil is really dark. Okay, we're going to finish in the ear here. We're going to start from left to right because we don't want to smudge our drawing in the middle, right? So remember, we're going to start on the left side here and work our way towards the right. We want a nice curved line here, just nice curve, half moon, crescent moon shape, and then redraw the path to the bottom of the ear, just like this. It can follow the external line, or you can make it slightly different like I have. All right, the next thing we're going to do is color in the Yoda's head. All right, then we're going to color inside the ear here. Make the ear nice and dark inside there, the outline as well. Color this in because his lightsaber that'll be lit right next to him will probably not get inside there. And we'll definitely make a shade or a shadow at the bottom of his ear here. In fact, the next thing we're going to do is color in his head, and we're going to add a bit more detail here to his lip. Yoda's really old, so we're going to get this done here. Color in his head. And we're going to trace the outline of his outer ear. And we're going to draw the inner part of his ear here with a nice little curve here at the bottom. Curve that out, following the outer line. And then we're going to darken the inside of his ear here, make it nice and dark, because he will be holding a lightsaber on the left side. So his lightsaber here will produce light this way, and then the right side will be dark and the left side will be bright. So the light will maybe come up from the top a little bit too. And that's how we're going to shade his face. So let's add these forehead lines here. And we're going to color in the shading to all that stuff in a few seconds. I'm going to add a few more dark lines around his eyes and things. These are the lines that I will not be erasing anytime soon. So I'll make them darker. A little eyelid here and another one on this side. And now we're going to start coloring in some of the detail onto his nose. So we're going to shade this down. And we're going to use that same treatment pretty much everywhere on his face. So let's do his eyebrow here. There's a little bit dark there. There's a little bit of shading on this side. Remember, the lightsaber on the left side is producing this bright light. So we need to have really dark spots on his face and really bright spots on his face too. So let's color in underneath his eye here, because his nose is producing shadow as well. We need to color all this part up. There's a little bit of a tired look to his face. Now remember, this Yoda is about to attack the Emperor, so he's not very happy right now, right? This is where he says, you know, too short or too long has your reign been, or something like that. You know, he's ready to attack the Emperor, and his lightsaber is out. So he can't be having all smiles and things. So, all right, we're going to color that in a little bit here too. We're going to color in his ear, make it a little bit darker. And here too, because his head is producing a shadow on his ear. Just like that. Leave a little bit of white at the top there. Color in the tip over here too. There you go. And now we're going to shade in his head. Now, this is probably the toughest part of the drawing, where we need to leave some spots light gray and some spots dark gray. And the pattern sort of changes for each square, just a little bit. So on this side, there's a little bit of a dark spot that'll happen here, but on top it's darkish gray. And like this, because the lightsaber, remember, is creating this light that is different as it hits his face. So we're going to color in here a really dark crack going down his head. And then from this line here, we're going to make it dark all the way to the side of his head. So like that up to here with another crack, or a wrinkle if you prefer. Just like this. And we're going to color in this side of his head a little bit. Just like that. Up here too, we'll make this a little bit darker. Give it more definition to the wrinkle or crack. Same thing down the center. And keep working your way like this. We're going to add layers upon layers of carbon. You know, we're just going to color stuff in like that. And we're going to do his cheek as well. And his little fold here. Underneath his eye, make that a little bit darker as well. Not as dark as the right side. The lightsaber is on this side, so this is where it should be a little bit brighter. I'm going to color here too. And just keep going at it. You know, don't try to do everything in one shot. Just keep coloring left and right and come back and color some more and so on. Add a shadow underneath his nose. And color in all of this side here of his upper lip. Color in his lip line. Draw that in darker. And then his lip isn't that thick, so we're going to reduce the thickness of that a little bit. There you go. And the bottom of his chin, a little bit of a shadow here. And I'm gonna retrace the outline of his face here and give it a few more bumps. There you go. Same thing at the top of his head. Retrace my lighter line to make it a darker one. All right. Retrace his ear. Hey, and his face more or less is pretty much getting there, right? It's nice. I'm going to keep adding a few more shades of gray here and there, just so that I can, until I'm satisfied with it. It's coming along really well. Give it a bit more shading to the cheekbone here. A little bit darker on this side to represent those facial aging. At the bottom he has a few more down here too, so we're going to shade that in and add a few more lines. Like that. Alright. Color this side in just a bit darker, give it a bit more volume, more of that 3D look. And now we're going to draw in the hair. Now the toughest part of the hair is that, well, his hair is white, right? So we're going to color it in or draw it in wisps of gray. But we have to do it light enough so it looks like his hair. And it's sort of flyaway hair, and it's very light, and so it goes in every direction. So it's not like dog hair or anything like that. Really, you really want to make it like sort of long grass, but very, very lightly on your pencil in every direction, getting this hair done. Pull, pull, you know, push and pull at the same time. Push down on the pencil and give it a shot upwards. And we're going to make some darker ones in here so we have layering done throughout his hair. And I think it protrudes on the back too a little bit. So we're gonna, behind his ear here, we're gonna draw a few more hairs like that. Hey, it looks like my grandpa. All right, so we're getting his head pretty much done and underway. I'm gonna add a few more sort of light reflections here and there and color in a little bit under the ear here, inside there. We really want a nice 3D look to this. And generally it's getting this sense of how to make something look realistic in a pencil drawing. And now we're going to work on his cloak. So this goes down this way. And then we're going to make it loop all the way down with a few closed folds. There we go. I'm going to pull down his jacket like this. And pull that down. And then what we're going to color is the lightsaber is producing this light. So we're going to make the lightsaber right away. Anyway, make the blade of it. That's the left side of it. We're going to draw the right side all the way up as well. And careful not to smudge your Yoda face. There we go, the top of the lightsaber is sort of like that. And now that we have that done, at least I know where the lighting goes. So we're going to draw from left to right, color from left to right so that you don't smudge your drawing. I said that earlier, but I want to make sure that this is a technique that is very important to save your drawings and your palm, not to get a really black palm. Another fold line here. I don't get how Jedis aren't warm all the time with all these layers of clothing on. All right, we're going to continue these lines going down, and you need to keep that flow going, like that. We're going to draw here some folds within his sleeve. This is his forearm. That should go sort of there. And another fold here, which his arm comes up to his garb. And then we're going to draw in his little collar here. So he's got a little V-neck collar. There's the curve for it. And then we're going to draw a thickness here that goes all the way to the front. Like that. And the other one is sort of curved a little bit. It's not as straight. There you go. Close that off. And then we're going to color the inside here below his neck. Make that all nice and black. So I'm going to speed that up. You guys can pause it and catch up. And I'm going to leave this part a little bit lighter because we can see the inside of his collar there. And that's why there's a thickness here, right there. See that? Make that just a little bit darker. All right. Now this will be darker than that. So we want to color that in a light gray. This has to be darker. So I'm going to color this here just a little bit, a nice shade of gray. We're going to add this outer collar line here to his robe, like that. Pull that like that. Color that in because, of course, his face is making a shade on his shadow on his clothing. Add a little bit of detail here, maybe a stitch line of some kind, just like that. We're going to add a little bit more detail right at the top here, just a little thin line. And now we're going to color this in. Now this side is a light beige. We have to keep it pretty bright until it comes to the front. So I'm going to add some little clothing bends or folds here just by making really light lines, shading that in like that. And I'm going to do the same thing here all the way to the bottom. I'm going to fast forward that for you. And really all this requires is just adding layer upon layer of graphite. So we're going to add color that in and color a bit some more on top with a thinner line. And here the light doesn't make it under there, so it's going to be nice and dark here. So we can see the thickness of his clothing. And that goes all the way to the bottom. And we're going to shade that the same gray as the other top part. And then this is where his arm is. I'm going to redraw that line a little bit and give that same shaded technique here in this fold. And this is the far end of his clothing. We can add a few more folds in this there, like that. All right. So here he's got sort of a belt thing going, or at least folds in his garb in the front. We're going to have to keep that in mind when we color in his torso. There we go. That gives us a good idea. And here are some folds within his forearm sleeve. And it's a little bit of shading there. Makes it look like the clothes is sort of flowing. The clothes are flowing right there. We're going to color this in as well. Make that a little bit darker. Make it a little bit bigger. Not bad. I think my Yoda is a little bit thin, but that's cool, you know. It's my drawing. I make Yoda the way I want to. If you want to make him fatter, you can go ahead. My Yoda looks a little bit taller than he should be, but maybe he's a younger Yoda. I don't know. You don't always get the drawing that you're looking for on the first try, and that's okay. But I'm happy with mine. It's coming out pretty good. All right, let's draw the fingers in here. The fingers that are holding up his lightsaber. He's got 3 fingers, Yoda does. Starting to speak like Yoda. And there we go. There's his second finger and his knuckles back here. And don't forget his thumb wraps up here. So his thumb will come over this way. And his little nail comes over the top. Just like that. We're going to erase the lines in here. Oh, there we go. And we're going to give a few more details to the lightsaber. Rounded top, the thickness to that. And a bit of shading underneath here. Give it a 3D look. and the sides of his saber handle. We're going to give it a little bit of a finished look at the bottom. It seems to me it's a little long, so I'm going to shorten that off a little bit. There you go. Pull that across. Make those little black squares here at the bottom that are required by any lightsaber for some reason. A lot of lightsabers have these squares down here. Yoda's no different. It's a smaller lightsaber, of course, compared to Mace Windu's or Obi-Wan. Color that in over here, shading to his hand. And make sort of like a chrome effect to his lightsaber. As it's made of steel, it reflects a lot of the environment. Now we're going to shade in his fingers, and they're going to be pretty much the same. So I'm going to color one in regular speed, and the other one I'll fast forward a little bit. So this is how you shade it. You want to do it rounded shading, sort of, and it has to progress darker and darker to the bottom. And we want to do the top just a little bit, and the thumb as well will be like sort of dark on the inside here. And of course, don't forget his nail, like that. There we go. And now we're going to do the bottom one the same way as we did the top one. So curved lines here, we want to color the inside like that and make the bottom finger a bit darker. And finish the outlines and give them a few more skin folds in there. Alright, so let's finish up his clothing here. We're going to redo that outline a little bit with overlapping lines. Up to the sleeve, coming back in, swooping down, this one too. Of course, we'd have to do the opening to his sleeve here. So there's his opening. It's dangling down a little bit, going past the camera. You don't have to make it this long. You can make it shorter. You know, even if you know what Yoda looks like, you don't have to draw an identical Yoda if you don't want to. Or you can use certain ideas to Yoda and make your own character if you like. And by the way, this part here of his clothing is darker. It's a dark brown. So we're going to color this in real quick. And we're going to color it in so that from left to right, it gets darker and darker. All right? So left, it should be bright. And see, so I'm going to add in a bit more darker parts here. We really want a gradient. And we want to color in the belt lines in here. And here on the edge of this cloak, it is darker because it's producing a shadow. So you want to color that in really nice and dark here on the side of it. Redo that line inside there. Color the rest in here. And then work on our gradient. So it has to be really, really dark on the right side and brighter on the left side. Add a bit of a shadow here onto his cloak, produced by his head. Maybe there's a little bit of a light source coming from the front. All right. I'm going to color this in as well. This has to be that beigeish color. Give a good illusion of folds and whatnot in there. All right, so let's color in the outline or the outline edge of the lightsaber. And lightsabers aren't very easy to draw. So all I'm going to do is produce a darkness around the lightsaber. So I'm really just coloring in a sort of darker edge around the lightsaber, and then I'm going to erase the inside. I don't really want the lightsaber to be a line because it's light, right? So light shouldn't be anything. But because it is sort of like a laser light, I'm going to darken all around. And this line here I'm going to erase. And just have a nice line going all the way up when I'm using my pencil eraser here. You can use any eraser you like. Oop, get that out of the way. And so all I want is like a light beam coming out of that lightsaber there. So I'm going to erase these lines so it sort of looks more realistic. And I'm going to add some shading to, or not shading, but reflections on Yoda's head here, because the lightsaber is actually producing a fair amount of light on his face. So by erasing these gray areas, it'll make it like Yoda really has a light reflecting off of his head here. And we'll do the same on his clothing a little bit. So I'm going to take some off on this side here, and all the way this way, and some on the front down here. I have to have some more eraser like that. And over here. So it really looks like the lightsaber is reflecting off of his clothes and off of his face. And off the top of his finger here a little bit too. Alright, let's color in here. Let's make this nice and dark. There is no light getting in that corner. And it'll help us detach his right lapel from his body. So let's color that in really dark. Remember, you can pause this video at any time. You can rewind it, rewatch it as much as you need. That will allow you to be able to draw this Yoda as well as you want to, really. Alright, he's got a fold here that I'm going to draw in there. It's going to come out to the front, draw that down. And he's got his other sleeve coming this way. Erase that line down there. And then we're going to just color that in. It should be a tad darker than the right side, the left side, because the lightsaber's not on this side. We're going to color in the shading to the folds. Just like that. Oop, erase this part because I don't want those that sleeve line to go in within the clothing. And there you have it, more or less. Yoda. So for those of you that wanted a Yoda from Star Wars, there's your Yoda. All we need to do is add his right hand and we'll be good to go. So that's it, guys. Thank you for your requests. I really hope you enjoyed this drawing. Like I said, my Yoda is a bit taller, but it doesn't really matter. I like it a lot. I hope you liked following me along. And thanks for watching Drawing with Paolo, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of Drawing with Paolo. Catch you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.